Alex and Eric at Corumdale Farm. We are a year 3. It's January 1st, Oklahoma Flower Farm selling retail market bouquets from our roadside stand. And it is finally Tulip Day. Last year we planted sometime in December, but we also weren't planting out a mega peony field. And so tulips got pushed back, but it's finally time to do our tulips. And we're excited to share with you how we plant our tulips in Oklahoma. And it's very cold, it's like 30 degrees, but we got to get it done. Eric has the day off. And so we're going to press start to finish planting a little over 5,000 tulips.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So last year when we planted these tulips, you can go watch that video. We're basically doing the same exact technique, just not in our fancy raised garden. But we're going to build temporary raised gardens. And I'm not going to call this a no-till method because that's silly. It's just raised gardening with the tulips. But the reason we're going to do that is we want to get bulb and all when you pull them out. We don't want bulbs lost into the ground that we have to retrieve later.
And we have clay, and so planting in our clay between rot and how it kind of turns to concrete and pulling it out, that would mean a lot of like snap stems. It would mean leaving bulbs in the ground, which we don't want to do. So we want to lift it up, raise it up, plant it on the surface, cover it, and then when I pull it out, the whole product's coming out. So then we can then flip that bed row for summer flowers.
We're in somewhat of a gamble mode because we got a 15-yard dump truck of compost from our local mushroom compost or mushroom farm. And I was hoping to use some of the soil in our field because we had already mixed compost in with our clay soil last year, but we've gotten a lot of rain this fall, so it's really compacted down and it's a bit muddier than I want to do. But we kind of wanted to mix some of our own soil in with it on top. Just an inch or two on top of the bulbs, and then the rest will be compost. Some of this is a little bit of guesswork, so if I have to sprint to a hardware store,
it'll be fun.
Or
we're starting early, so we have all day.
I might have to steal some dirt from somewhere else.
You're looking around your property
I'm
for
looking
dirt.
for dirt. Does anybody see any dirt out there?
We need dirt.
What we're going to do is we're going to build boxes around them once we get them settled in.
This is different though. This is what we're saying. So if you've seen on Instagram and YouTube, people will like build the boxes on top of the row and then lean over or step into the box to plant the bulbs. But I'm thinking, this is an experiment, but like efficiency wise, instead of kneeling down sideways and having to go up and over a board and in with my body motion, having to plant all of these myself, what if Eric gave me guidelines and I just planted in the row and then Eric built the boards around it after. So we're gonna see if that works and save a little awkward twisty motion that really fatigues you.
So last year we took about 80 square feet to plant all these bulbs and that was half the amount.
2,800.
So I got enough to do a full 4 by 60 foot box. I think we can get away with 40 feet.
I think so too, but we'll see.
But that's going to be built at the end.
Yeah.
So it's going to kind of be, you'll watch it. You'll just see it.
Yeah, right.
Just watch it.
We're about to do it together.
The thing that's so funny here is in July, the ground doesn't keep any water, but here in the winter, it just never lets it go. So the ground it hasn't really rained in like 2 weeks.
It's going to be wet until May.
Right. I'm going to try to rake some of this back. So this is already our compost tilled in with our clay. So this is pretty good dirt already. So I'm going to rake back a level to try to just pull it to the side, and then we'll create like a 4 foot. It's a little trench. I don't want to go too deep. Yeah, there's some concern about the hotness of our compost, mushroom compost. They mix in chicken litter. They pasteurize it a couple times. But we've had ours since the beginning of October, so it's about 3 months old. So it's probably gone through I think it's called like the mesophilic phase. All you compost people are gonna.
That's not how you pronounce it.
Yeah, thermophilic, pyrophilic, mesophilic. I feel like I'm talking about like geographic ages of the world.
The layers of the crust.
Yeah, the Mesolaic layer. So. Goal is next spring when we're done with this, we knock the boxes down, I pick them up with the tractor, and I can take that dirt and redistribute it to other parts. I'm not allowed to call it dirt.
Soil.
Dirt.
Dirt.
You're
gonna get in trouble.
Soil.
So we have all of our tulips here. I don't really have a final count unless I look at my documents, but it's about 5,100. I know it's at least 5,000. We, like Eric mentioned, we did a video back in, I think, early September going over every single variety and why I chose them. So I'll link that in the description for you to watch. You'll see kind of sneak peeks of some of them, but if you want the whole thought process of how we choose what to order, go watch that video. These guys are from Ownings, Leo primarily, and we buy very cheap bulbs from Holland Bulb Company, and I'm really excited. I'll show you when I get these bags open the difference between like an expensive top size bulb and the super cheapy ones that we do. We've got about 2,000 of the super cheapies, but they did wonderfully for us this past year. In year 2, everyone really loved them, so we got more of them, but I'm really excited about all the colors. I need to go get my long paint stirring sticks and my garden marker. It's called garden marker, and it does a good job of not fading, and get everything labeled, because even though I probably could guess each variety, I want to have them labeled mainly because I want to be really observational this year. Ooh, we get to say this year now, it's January, about which ones performed the best, and then also which ones our customers loved most, so that I can quickly order for next year sometime in April and May. So I just want to be really, really organized in their performance and what does well. I'm thinking the way I'm going to order them for planting is I'm going to plant them late, mid, and then early, starting from the north side of the row, which is the closest to the flower stand, which is what our customers are going to see. And so I'll start harvesting the early ones in the back first and kind of work my way forward, instead of having the earlies first and kind of have like a messy, empty bed for the customers to see. They can see the tulips that are getting ready to bloom for them while I'm farther back harvesting. It's kind of my thought process there, but that's going to require some organization. So while Eric is raking, the job I don't want to do, I'm going to get labeling. Look how floofy and perfect that looks. What are the tulips going to say? Yes, we wish to sleep here in this perfect bed.
All right, so I've got a whole bunch of lumber here. I bought 2x8s. This isn't supposed to be pretty, it's supposed to be functional. Also had a bunch of rebar that came with my farmer's friend tunnel that I didn't need because I bought the ground post. So this will be to pound into the ground to support the walls for the weight of the dirt pushing out. It's gonna be a very interesting raised box build. Like turbo speed box.
One thing I forgot to mention that I know some of you are probably thinking, they're like, Alex, didn't you see that Nicole at Flower Hill Farm dug a trench and just dumped the bulbs in? Why didn't you do that? You lined yours up all nicely. Two reasons. One, that video felt totally chaotic to me because that was just so unorganized, which is like dumping them in. That was a little hard for my brain to be like, I don't know about that. Also, in seeking profitability, our farm isn't exactly at the level where we can experiment with 10,000 tulips, planting them in a different way like she is and just saying like, we'll see if this works out. I'm not going to gamble like that. And so this is exactly how we did it last year, and our tulips were beautiful. And so I am going to repeat that process. Of course, I'll watch if Nicole does a follow-up video if that technique worked for her, but I'm not interested in that level of gamble. I'd rather put in a couple hours of work and do it exactly the way I know has worked on our farm. So I'm not doing the trench and dump.
There you go, strong man.
The boxes are built. We used treated ground contact lumber. The plan is to disassemble them and to just store them nicely and reuse them for our 4th year on the flower farm. So that's why we got nicer boards, and Eric put nice blocks in the corner for stability and some rebar, and so the box looks great. We filled it with our mushroom compost. Eric's going to top dress a little bit more and make sure it's even. But here at the end, I wanted to talk about how to get long tulips. So there's usually 3 main issues that can contribute to short tulips, which none of us want. The first one is not enough chill hours. So these we received sometime in October, and they've been in our fridges getting their chill hours because in Oklahoma we are very borderline on whether our winter will be cold enough or not, and I don't want to risk it. Not worth it. So we get our bulbs, we put them in the fridge, and that's why we're planting them here so late in January, because they've gotten 2+ months of chill hours already, and so they'll get nice and cold in January and February, and they'll totally hit their numbers and bloom beautifully. So chill hours. The second one is not being planted deep enough. They need to be 6 inches deep. If you're planting them at 4 inches, you might end up with short tulips. They want to hit that 6-inch mark, so really measure there. And then lastly is actually what you might not think, and it's that you don't give them enough water. So you're thinking, I don't want them to rot, so they don't need that much water, but actually no. If you aren't getting precipitation like snow, you might need to water them. But come around, for us in zone 7, around end of February, I really actually start watering them because they're pushing that growth in the soil, it's breaking ground, and then they're starting to push the bloom stem, and they're very thirsty. They want deep drinks of water during that period. And during that time, I'm not worried about rot. They've got great root systems. They're pushing above ground. They are thirsty because they are working hard on giving you that tulip bloom. So actually you need to water your tulips. So those are the 3 tips: chill hours, depth of planting, and watering them. But they're all tucked in. And I suspect, I'm hoping that maybe like March 18th-ish, maybe we'll get our first tulip based on what happened last year. But I'm so excited. It was a long day. We started around 9:30. It's about 4 o'clock sometime here, but I had lots of help. And Eric, we love our tractor that made this process a lot faster. But that's how we plant our tulips here on our flower farm, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye, tulips!